Hello, welcome to our life. We are the Beckers, and today we're going to be talking about how we had to fix a leak in our main water pipe.
Yeah, so this house is custom. My great grandpa built it back in the 1930s as an add on for his mother in law. And since then, it's been added on to. It's been kind of family project. Yeah, we'll show you guys replacing some really old pipes. Okay, so we've lived here for like 5 years now. And the water has been very consistently $26 a month, every single month. And so in October, our bill was it was $85, and I was like, "What in the world? Did I maybe like miss a payment, something like that?" I was like, I'm like, whatever, I'll just pay it. And so the next month, it was $106 in November this month, and I was like, no, 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 no. So I emailed them. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, I heard them like banging around the other day when they were like checking it. Maybe they jostled it or something like that, or I wasn't really sure, and so I just emailed them. I'm like, please send someone out. So I went off to work. They sent someone over pretty quickly. Uh, they were like, oh yeah, you got a leak, and she emailed me back and let me know. But other than that, they were like pretty unhelpful. No like recommendations of like what to do. Just call a plumber. Like luckily the leak was pretty easy to find, but yeah, they were just like not very helpful.
So, looking back, we can kind of figure it out because there was this ominous flush around sometime in September that just sounded really like gurgly and weird, and it didn't like do anything particularly bad or anything noticeable, but it was just kind of like, that was weird. But then after that, it was like this faint hiss sound, like running water, like whooshing. It's hard to explain because it's not what you would think. It's not like a stream or anything like that. Yeah, like background static kind of. And so that we kind of just got used to it. We kind of just got used to that sound, and so we didn't really think much of it. And I guess it wasn't leaking bad enough at first for us to really notice the change in the water bill, but as you will see later, the fateful reason for the whooshing is very obvious. All of a sudden, everything's starting to kind of come together. The whooshing sound, the water bills getting higher and higher. They definitely have found a leak. So then we're like, okay, it's too dark right now. We don't really know what we're gonna do, but we got to look at it when we get the chance. We could try to figure out what is the problem. And so that was kind of where we were at.
Definitely. I came home that night and I didn't want to move anything just in case, so I just bent down and listened, and as you guys will be able to tell, it was you could hear it even there. I could hear it flowing down there, and so
Yep.
I was like, well, how hard would it have been to send a picture or add a sentence about that? But that's okay.
So then cut to the next day, and I'm like, I'm gonna find this leak. I'm Googling all these secrets. I found one plumbing company that actually offered to help me figure out the problem without charging me anything. They just gave me some tips, which was great. So grateful for that. And I just realized, I came home, I kind of troubleshot, and sure enough, in the vault, there's that hissing sound. So I opened it up, and they had moved all the insulation out of the way because normally there is insulation down there. And it was just a bunch of water. So I think I may have found the location of the leak because it's leaking right here. But, I'm no expert, so you guys tell me what you think. And like Jesse said, could have been a little hey, quick memo, you got water in your vault. But anyway, so we were like, okay, definitely it's our main water source that's leaking because we can see it with our eyeballs. So we're so lucky for that because we know other people who have been through this similar experience, but they couldn't find the leak, and it's really hard to deal with that. It's very expensive. And so luckily, even though it did fail right in the vault, we were able to see it. So we're definitely blessed in that regard and super thankful to have that. And also for those friends and family we know that went through it before us, because we were able to ask them, what did you do? What do you wish you could go back and do? What do you recommend? And we got a lot of different advice from friends and family, and that helped us in making our decision and planning well, for sure.
Okay, so now that we know where the leak was, that's the hard part. We could get to fixing the problem. So we saw the leak, it looks like it should be just a nice little patch or cut the pipes and replace it. Couple $100, nothing big. But it wasn't. But first we wanted to like get some like advice from people, you know. So we called the best source, my grandpa. He knows the most about the property more than anyone else, and he was able to tell us that the pipes were installed back in like the 40s or so. So it's been a while that they've been down there, maybe like 60, 70 years or so, 80 if the 40s, yeah. So but yeah, so it was galvanized steel. Since then, like what they put in the water just kind of degrades those kind of pipes over time. So that's what happened to ours. So there wasn't any insurance that would cover it or anything like that. So our best bet would be to either patch that or replace the whole pipe.
Hence the need for the advice, you know, because that's kind of a big like spread of different scenarios or solutions or costs and all of that. So we were like, okay, well, now it's time to get advice, because now we know exactly where we stand. Now we need to ask people what they think we should do. Mm-hmm. So I put on Facebook, because I figured there had to be somebody between the two of us on our Facebook that knew something about pipes, like at least one person. So I just put on there like, hey, I need some advice. If anybody has any experience and would give me advice, let me know. And it turned out to be my sister-in-law, which is classic, because that's funny to reach out on Facebook. But thank you, Ray. You're the best. But yeah, she came over that night and was like, sure, like I'll stick my hand down there. I'll check it out. And for me, I'm good at I'm okay at fixing cars and like diagnosing problems, but I'm not a good like plumber. I've never experienced anything with that. So I needed somebody that knew what they were doing, even if they weren't like officially educated. And so, yeah, she got down there, she was checking it out. There was a bit of like technical grumbling going on, so I knew it wasn't too good. But she was able to give us a good idea of like the situation down there and what we should expect. And
yeah, I was like, oh yeah, no worries. They're going to come by tomorrow and just fix it. And she was like, ha! They're not just going to come by and fix that. So
we needed the hard truth to come from somebody that we trusted. And so, you know, you got to have somebody that'll tell you the hard truth. And so she did. And that was good, even though we didn't want to hear it. You know, we're like, oh, no way.
definitely.
But she was definitely right in the long run. We did end up finding out. But it was just nice to have a few friends that we could reach out to and just say, hey, you know, what would you do? And it really helped.
Definitely, yeah. Last but not least is like some of our best friends, Adam and Justine. We reached out to them. We were just like, you guys, what should we do? Like they told us in the past that they'd gone through like something like that. So like we just wanted to pick their brains, see what they had to kind of say about it. And they gave us so much good help. So
seriously,
if you have that kind of thing going on, if you have a stethoscope or even just like listen up against the wall, or go to like places where the water is, like your bathroom, under the sink, things like that. If you have a leak, then you'll be able to hear it throughout all of the pipes, because they're all kind of connected.
Yep.
So you won't be able to detect where it's at necessarily, but if everything's dry inside, then that's a good sign that it's probably outside. And you'll be able to kind of hear it like echoing through the pipe. So that's kind of the whooshing and the like hissing that we were hearing and things like that. So like without that, like we definitely heard it, but you know, I just thought that our toilet was trying to win the marathon or something. But
just running all night long.
Exactly. But yeah, so definitely that advice was invaluable.
Seriously.
Definitely. So if you got that going on, if you hear like the sound of like something, just listen around, see if you can kind of pinpoint it. And then if your water bill starts going up, just like email them. They'll send out a person probably and like confirm that you do or don't have a leak.
Absolutely. And if your water bill like shoots up like ours did, you probably do have a leak on your side of the meter, and that's your problem. And so, because the meter is like where they start to decide whose problem it is. So anything from the meter to the company is their problem. The meter to you is your problem. If you're getting charged the extra water, it is on your side of the meter, which means that somewhere between the meter and your house, it's leaking. So it's definitely something that you should check out. Even if you don't hear or see evidence of a leak, that was our only first real indicator, was that bill just jumping. And now that we know that's a common symptom, but we had no idea to look out for that. So just heads up, PSA, look out for that.
Definitely. So now that we have like some good advice, it's time for us to like start planning. Like, what are we actually gonna do about this? So we did record some of that, like conversation. So here it is for you guys. Should I get the idea notebook or the YouTube notebook? Okay. So, are we talking about the water hole or boat removal?
Maybe let's start with boat removal. Rumba settle. Settle. No biting. No biting.
It's okay, little duty. How about we get you a little toy? Little crazy. Okay, boat removal. Cut it up.
Mhm.
Pull with the truck.
Yep.
Let's see. Organize.
Yep.
Some dudes to move it.
Okay.
Because this is just boat removal. These are ways that we can get it out of the way for what needs to be done.
So, I guess another thing then is ask the, like, plumber, excavator guy, like, if we happen to have something in the way that we weren't able to move on our own, would they be able to just move it, like, as part of the fee? Like, as part of the flat rate of excavation for the thing?
Maybe like, we'll just say plumber move.
Yeah. Like, question
Because
mark.
he would move it, but like he wouldn't get rid of it for us.
No.
But, and in that case he might just like drag it, just like bust up the whole ground.
If we just need to move it out of the way, we like just pull it with the truck. There's like we could loop to the dill, like that you use to pull it.
Pulling it with it. Well, I don't know if they have that on, oh yeah, like on the thing that you use to dock it.
Yep.
No, with the boat where it's at, if we were to pull it, would it bust the water line under it?
That was what I was thinking too, is what would it hurt if we did pull it?
It's hurt it?
It's got to be at least 5.5 feet deep.
Well, then I say then let's just do that for now.
Yeah, give it a wing dingo, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the truck's for.
Boom. Okay, so now that we have kind of a plan, now we're ready to make the call. Dun dun dun.
Dong dong. So at that point, we called the one plumber that we found that was willing to give us advice for free, and that actually helped us find the leak because they can't help you find the leak. The particular company we went through, which I guess is pretty common. So there's companies that just find a leak, and they usually cost quite a bit. So she said, the gal there was like, instead, here's what you can do to try to find it. That, coupled with what our friends Adam and Justine told us, helped us find it exactly where we needed to, and so we were all set there. So we decided, once we realized we really needed those repairs, that we were going to go through that same company because they were actually the one that helped us, and they ended up being a flat rate fee company, meaning that like they don't charge per hour, and so unless an accident, like something comes up unexpected that has material cost, you don't have to pay for that extra time. So that helped us out a ton as well, and that ended up being super beneficial because we found out there's some weird stuff with our city's piping underneath our house. And so, yeah, we were very lucky that we didn't end up having to pay per hour because the excavator sat in our yard overnight. So, yeah, definitely very lucky in that regard.
For sure.
So if you do happen to find yourself in a situation where your water bill has jumped up and you hear whooshing sounds or anything, any combination thereof, it's a good idea to go online and just look around. You know, people that you know might know a good plumber, but honestly, I found that most people don't really have one to recommend if you ask. And so what I did is I just went online, looked at a little bit of reviews, kind of read on their website what their, like, I guess, like, their business terms were, and decided which one I liked the best. So it depends on where you're at, but you know, just if you need that, just look online for who locally you have available that other people would recommend, and go with them, because otherwise it's kind of hard to find somebody that you can have recommended to you. So that's how you can go about finding them if you need to.
Sweet. Okay, so we called the company to have them come out and have the guy do his gerb. And we actually wrote a little poem for you guys. He took one look, told us to rebook with a guy with a hook to come have a look. We hoped he mistook.
But our pipes looked like yuck. Our buns were cooked.
AKA, we were shook. Okay, for all you non-poetics out there, we called the guy. He said that he couldn't help us, that another guy with a big excavator would have to come. It's going to be more expensive than we thought. And so now we have something else to work with.
Yay!
Okay, so now that we're talking to the dude, we were able to ask him some questions. So about this big boat, it was awesome. He said he could just push it out of the way, no charge, nothing like that. So all of our planning was, not necessary. But it's important to go through the planning, just because you never know what to expect. And so when things turn out a little bit easier than you expected, that is a definite plus. And so he said he was going to be able to push the boat. He said he would cut the bent spigot, no extra cost, anything like that. It was starting to get a little bit cold, so we were kind of concerned. He said it'd be a nice, quick one-day job. And then also, we were like, is this going to be the right decision for us? So we were kind of crossing our fingers. And it turns out, I talked to one of the guys while they were working on it, and it was perfect. The rest of the pipe was starting to go, so it was a great time to actually replace it all. Exactly. That's what I said. I'm like, woo! Glad I'm not just replacing a brand new pipe down there, with something else. And so, yeah, definitely really glad that he was able to just kind of get those roadblocks taken care of for us. So, like Carm was saying, they do a flat rate, so everything was kind of included there. The excavator did have to sit there a whole day just because the city didn't want to turn off the water. The guy was really good at providing his estimate. It was to a T.
Seriously, it was crazy.
He said it'd be $4,300 plus tax, and it ended up being $4,657.24. So, that's pretty right on. So, okay, so it's definitely more than we had just lying around, but really it was. We had to take the money out of our accounts. It was a lot of money to just kind of hand over to a dude, so that was unfortunate. But so how we kind of afforded it is we had our money, and then we took a balance transfer on one of our credit cards for a 0% APR for a 3% fee for 12 months, just to kind of cover the difference and a little extra.
Yeah, and that's actually one of our tips for life, because if you ever have to borrow money and you don't have somebody you can just borrow cash from, which most of us don't, it's good to have a balance transfer. And so we could talk a lot more about that. That could be its own whole video. So if you're interested in more subjects on adult hacks, life hack stuff for adulting, anything relating to that, definitely let us know. We'll bump it up in the production schedule.
Boom. Okay, so now what? Now we have the cost in time and money. We know kind of what to expect. We have some advice. We have some options. So what are we going to do? So they wanted the money half up front and half when they were done. So the first step for us was getting our assets in order. Like I said, it was going to the bank, withdrawing all of our money, and requesting that balance transfer.
Yeah, we ended up going with the replacement option, even though that was definitely more expensive, obviously, than just patching it. But our concern was a couple of things. One, that's just what you do. In my opinion, if you're a homeowner, if you're responsible, then it's your property. You're going to live on it for a long period of time. Main water pipe, non-negotiable for us. So we just decided to bite the bullet and go ahead and do that. And so we went ahead and had them excavate, remove all of the old piping that belonged to us, that was on our side of the water meter, so that way we could just replace everything from there to the house, make sure it's all new, functions, it's gonna last longer. And so, like Jesse said, after they excavated the old pipe, they were able to see that there was some really serious damage, and you guys will get to see some of the piece that they left for us, what it looked like. And oh my gosh, yes.
Just kidding.
Is water pipe an instrument? It is definitely crazy, like, how bad it got before it did burst. Like, I'm kind of impressed, honestly. But yeah, it was definitely the right thing for us. Hard decision, but definitely turned out to be the right thing.
And okay, so lastly, take a deep breath. Stop stressing about it, because now that we kind of know what we're going to do, we have our plan of attack, everything like that, it doesn't help us to continue stressing out about it. Maybe stress out about how we're going to pay it off. But now the leak is not our problem anymore. We got a guy coming over. He's going to do his thing. It's going to be fixed tomorrow, everything like that. And exactly, we won't be able to take a shower in the morning, but that's going to be it for us. Like, so that's a win. Yep. No shower, no coffee, but we were back in business by the end of the day. And so, yeah, absolutely worth it. More than worth it. Sorry guys, it's not the best footage. But this is the Avista guy. He's out there spray painting the ground to show where the water line is. There's the boat. There's the vault. But yeah. So basically, here's how it goes when it's November and you need a water pipe turned off and checked for maintenance or anything like that. They called emergency locates. They sprayed this ground with spray paint to kind of mark out, like, this is where we're digging. Where is anything important in this area that we need to know about? And so they did that. They came out and sprayed, the water company, the power company, everybody came out and sprayed where the lines were and important things. Ish. They weren't exactly accurate, but they gave an idea of where they were at. And so then turned out the water company, like Jesse said, didn't want to turn the water off for the whole grid that we're on, because they'd have to do that. And so they made them wait a day. So then it was the next day, and it was a crisp autumn morning. 8 o'clock, the plumber guys show up and the excavator guys, and they start digging because the water company said to wait till they got there. But they weren't there on time. And so they started digging carefully, looking for anything that might be a problem. And they stumbled upon their input line that goes to the water company that feeds their water. And so interestingly enough, they didn't even know it was down there. And so they had to kind of readjust, and you'll get to see that when you see the picture of the trench. It kind of started going, and then they had to kind of redirect because the main water pipe was in the way for the city, or for the water district, not our main water pipe. So that's interesting. But yeah, so they started doing that. I think they actually broke ground and started making progress probably around 9, because that's when they were able to get permission to dig around certain important things. So I'm inside, and there's all these guys in orange hoodies, dirty orange hoodies. And they're all with this machine. It looks like a metal detector, kind of, but not really. And it's beep, 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 beep. And they're like, it's going to come out here somewhere, right? And they stood over here by, I think it was the gas line they had trouble with. Because they stood over here by this piece of fence right here forever, all talking about where it's going to go and why would it be like that and stuff. And it was funny because I think part of the confusion is that our property used to be attached to this property, but they didn't know that because, well, they didn't ask and I didn't offer, so. But yeah, it was interesting. They were walking around beeping and scanning and spraying and stuff, but
So far, everything makes sense except for this marking, which is supposed to say something. I don't know what. It's in red. I cannot read it at all. I have no idea what it says, but the rest of them make sense.
I can't even see it. There's something in red? Nothing. I see this,
NOA.
Oh, I see.
Maybe something about like no Vista management or.
Can you read it better on the screen?
Oh, yeah. No Avum. I'm not sure what this little thingy is, but over here, I was looking at these like symbols that they wrote in blue, and I was like, interesting symbols in blue. What could it mean? And then I realized
The water?
it's just a big question mark. It's a we don't know. It's a
Because the water comes in and goes over,
we think.
and then it goes this way.
Yep.
I think actually it comes out a little bit further and then goes down. Probably like right in this area. Ah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
They probably wouldn't have let him build
Right on the line.
right on the water line.
No.
So yeah,
would?
you guys, they left their excavator here. I saw this and I thought I was gonna have to blur it out, but looks like it's legit. This is our boat. Oh boy, it's been a long time since we've seen this side. For the last little bit here, it's been in this, you see that like kind of boat outline shape? Yeah, that's where it was, upside down.
Here it is in all its glory.
Let's give it a wang dang. Oh yeah, and Cairo.
Yeah.
First try. I was kidding, but it worked.
Yeah, seriously, look at this.
Sounds like it was still with
This is where the outboard motor used to be. Effing mint. Oh.
Yeah,
that,
so
and then the excavator and the vault and everything. So apparently,
when I came home, there was a couple guys over here. One of them was down here, and he pulled up the little bit. I was like,
oh yeah, we kind of have the whole patch.
I don't want to pull it up.
Yeah, we won't show you guys, but
Getting a little chilly.
You've heard the
You've
sound.
seen it.
The plumber tried to convince the water district to let him go directly from our house into their, like into the main water line there that he had access to, but they decided that they didn't have the equipment and the gear to make that work properly at the moment, and they asked him to just use our old vault. So we did end up getting to keep our giant old vault, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was just funny that he even tried to convince him like real time on the spot, and he was still like, no way. So it's just kind of funny. But yeah, so they by the time I was leaving for work, they had a big trench dug, and there was like some guy kind of holding pipes, it looked like, from like sagging, and they were like, oh, have a nice day. And so I was like, thank you for fixing my pipes, you too. And then Jesse was able to, when he was leaving, get a chance to talk to a few of those guys, got to ask some questions about how it was going and all that. And yeah, it was very interesting the way that it looked. You'll get to see in the pictures as well.
Yeah, so we got these guys here from the place. They're digging it all up. It's pretty nuts. It's kind of cool though. One thing is, when they were working on it, we could hear the pipes. They were like squealing and like thunking.
Yeah, it was like.
It was like. Thum, thum,
we're like.
boom.
Oh, I hope
But
that's okay, whatever that
seriously,
is.
I'm like, I don't know why it's changing in sound, but I'm like, okay, so they were doing their thing though. I mean, so voila.
Yeah, is water pipe an instrument?
And then I got home around probably like 4 o'clock. They had already been gone, maybe for like an hour or two, just like guessing. I have no idea. But yeah, everything like looked good. Here's a video of that. All right, so just got home. They did their job. As we can tell, no sound. Dun 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 dun. Da, 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 da. No sound still, that's good. Heck yeah, dude. They done did their job. And one thing that was just really cool to see was just all the workers seemed to like their job. They were happy, friendly, funny, laughing, having a good time, being like professional but like real. So it was just cool.
Definitely.
Boom! All right.
Whee!
I am glad that's over.
Really,
so,
though.
yeah, now that everything's all set and good to go, there's no noise coming from inside the house. The toilet, the kitchen, the shower, the laundry room, those places, they did need to kind of be like turned on and like repressurized. So I just ran the washer for a moment. The sinks, flushed the toilet, took a shower. And the water, it did change color. It was brown for a little bit, then clear, then brown, then clear. And then it was like, and it like, but, yeah, then it kind of normalized after that and everything like that. So, yeah, and no noise. So, it's just awesome. They did a really good job.
Definitely. And, yeah, the investment's already paying itself off in that we are not losing gallons of water per hour. Yay! So yeah, definitely already paying itself off. It's already working well. And yeah, like Jesse said, no noise, all totally functional. So we're very appreciative of that. So yeah, now we have a moved boat, which, by the way, all of our planning didn't go to waste because we did talk about how to get rid of the boat. And even though they did move it so they could excavate, nice. We did not get it removed, and so we still
one of the guys was trying to take it. He was like, "How much for the boat?" I was like, "It's free, dude. If you want it, you
Please
can have
take
it." Exactly. He's like, let me talk to the wife. So she probably said no.
Yeah, she was like, "No, we don't need a lawn ornament."
Exactly. Bullet dodged, man. Bullet dodged.
Dang, or loss, but you know that's okay. That's okay. So yeah, the planning didn't go to nothing. So the boat's out of the way though. The ground is kind of messy. We have this little mop dog Roomba. Her little messy paws were pretty much the only downside after they were all done because we just gotta clean her off when she comes in because there's a huge strip in our yard that is now basically just muddy. It's not packed tight yet, and hopefully the snow and ice and everything will help with that, but yeah, for right now it's kind of just a muddy muck. But other than that, we're pretty satisfied with the services. Like, definitely would recommend them and go with them again. So we're very happy with how it turned out.
Absolutely. They were able to cut off the little bent spigot that was sticking up out of there. Just cleaned it all up, made sure everything was nice and good down there. We're going to have to put some new insulation down there, but... Down Periscope. So this is after the job's been done. Lowering it down. Ooh. Still definitely a big improvement.
It's like when you get your teeth cleaned because the new pipe that they just installed is like nice and shiny, and then the old pipe looks kind of like ugh. So it's like before you get your teeth cleaned, you think they're clean, but then you go get them cleaned and you're like, oh, I can't believe they were so bad. At least that's me.
And then lastly, kind of like, how did we afford all that? Again, we have jobs, so that's the main thing. That's the biggest thing. If you're wanting to make money, get a job. And we have savings. That's actually another one of our adulting tips, is just saving 10% of everything that you earn, just because you never know when something like this is going to happen. And so thankfully we did have the majority of it saved. We only needed to get a little bit extra. Mm-hmm. And plus we did get a little bit of help financially from my grandpa, and then also just from the company themselves in the way of like discounts and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so otherwise it probably would have been closer to like a even $5,000 or something like that. So mm-hmm. Definitely helpful there. And then and yeah. All right, guys, quick shout out to Zeiss. We're trying to figure out who you are. Carmen's got a guess.
Yeah, so this guess is based on what you've said and the likelihood of you being the person that you've described yourself to be. So my guess is that it's my brother Caleb.
Dun-dun-dun. So we will see. But as far as the communication, you don't have to give us any like hints. Just saying something so that we can kind of narrow you down, because man, we are like losing sleep, and we're like every time when we're like, oh, do you mean Zeiss? We're like,
seriously, I come home and Jesse's like, so I've been thinking.
exactly. I know who it is. But
we've got like the wall with the pictures and all the string.
We've got a couple guesses, so we're narrowing them down. So
be careful.
Your days are numbered, Zeiss. Okay, final thoughts.
Yeah, so I would say overall it was a good lesson, and I'm very glad that we learned from it, because now we'll recognize it when it happens in the future, and we can help other people if they run into having trouble with that too. Just, more knowledge is always better. So that, and then also I would say that it was good for us, just because we learned to plan through something and figure it out. And even though it wasn't a good situation, it helped us grow as a team. So definitely grateful for that.
Absolutely. And I honestly, it wasn't a good situation or a fun situation, but I think that we're really lucky with kind of like everything that had to go on, and kind of just like the time frame. It's just like, it wasn't bad. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. So it was expensive and it was hard, but it was definitely doable, and it didn't really like impact our day-to-day too much. I mean, now we have like another bill that we have to pay or whatever, but that's not too bad. It could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you learned something from this. We know we sure did. And, overall, not the best scenario, but definitely as good as it could have been, all things considered. So we're very lucky, and we consider ourselves very lucky. But yeah, it was great. It was a fun experience to make a video out of it, and it definitely made it more... it was easier to think about it as not our problem, but just as a problem that needed to be solved, because we were cataloging it, videoing it. So just thank you guys for sharing the experience with us. We hope you enjoyed it for sure.
Definitely. So, share the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It definitely helps us out, and maybe it'll help somebody else out down the line.
Definitely.
Down the pipe. Anyway. Thanks again for tuning in with Life of the Beckers, you guys, and we will see you next time.
Bye.